Well, welcome to the 700 Club. For today's top headlines, let's go over to the CBN News Desk.
Thanks, Gordon. Iran is enriching uranium at a faster pace and increasing its stockpiles on its way to getting enough material to make a nuclear weapon. The regime admits it's now in violation of the 2015 nuclear deal. And as Dale Hurd reports, the world is taking notice.
Iran admitted it exceeded the limit set on its stockpile of low-enriched uranium in the 2015 nuclear deal. CBN News chief international correspondent Gary Lane said what's more important is that Iran is continuing its enrichment program.
The genie is now out of the bottle. It's not as significant that they violated slightly the stockpile numbers. What is significant is now they are on this road to uranium enrichment that may reach dangerous levels. Right now they're at 3.67%. If they get up to 20% or beyond that, that's enough for a nuclear bomb.
The move comes a year after President Trump pulled the U.S. out of the deal. He was asked if he has a message for Iran.
No message to Iran. They know what they're doing. They know what they're playing with. And I think they're playing with fire. So no message to Iran whatsoever.
Appearing on Fox News' Tucker Carlson, Trump said he hopes Iran will eventually come to the bargaining table.
But we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. So they're having a lot of difficulty in their country right now. And hopefully at some point they'll come back and they'll say, we're going to make a deal. We'll see what happens.
Iran's foreign minister expressing his exasperation over a White House statement that even before the deal's existence, Iran was violating its terms, tweeted, "Seriously?" Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, Israel will not allow Iran to develop nuclear weapons. Today, I also call on all European states. Stand by your commitments. You committed to act the moment Iran violated the nuclear agreement. You committed to reinstate the automatic sanctions regime that was agreed upon in the Security Council. So I tell you, do so. Go do it.
Do it. Just do it.
And while President Trump has signaled he'd like to make a deal with the Iranians, Iran has shown no sign it wants to negotiate. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
President Trump signed a $4.6 billion humanitarian aid package Monday to assist migrants held at the border. This as congressional Democrats claim detainees are living in inhumane and toxic conditions after touring 2 detention centers in Texas. They say women are sharing cramped cells, sleeping on floors, and going without showers and necessary medication. Church leaders who recently toured one of those facilities are telling a different story. Reverend Samuel Rodriguez of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference visited a center in El Paso, Texas, with several other pastors. He told reporters, "To my surprise, I saw something drastically different from the stories I've been hearing in our national discourse." The center came under fire after immigration attorneys claimed children kept there were dirty, hungry, and scared. Rodriguez said they saw no such conditions at that center and that he pressed authorities on whether conditions were changed after the media reports, and they said the conditions were the same. The U.S. economy is in its longest period of sustained growth in history. Beginning in June 2009, the streak is now more than 10 years old, entering its 121st month. This as the stock market rose higher Monday on news that the U.S. and China are putting their trade war on hold. The S&P 500 closed at a record high 2,964, while the Dow rose 117 points and the Nasdaq jumped 1.1%. However, some analysts expect the economy to slow down in months ahead. Turning now to Hong Kong, where angry young protesters turned destructive, smashing their way into the country's legislature after weeks of mounting frustration over a controversial extradition bill with China. CBN Asia correspondent Lucille Toulousan reports from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong riot police launched tear gas at hardcore protesters after they violently stormed into the Legislative Council building. A dramatic ending to what would have been a peaceful celebration of the 22nd anniversary of the handover of Hong Kong to mainland China. In 1997, China agreed to a one-country, two-systems arrangement, granting Hong Kong its own economic and legal system for 50 years. But in recent years, Hong Kong residents see Beijing increasingly imposing its sovereignty over Hong Kong, most recently in a controversial extradition bill giving China the right to take people accused of crimes from Hong Kong to the mainland. Monday's traditional March for Democracy turned into a march of protest against the bill. Hundreds of thousands took to the streets shouting for the complete withdrawal of the bill and the resignation of Chief Executive Carrie Lam.
I would say that under the hardline suppression of President Xi, people around the world might have hesitation and might try to keep silence. But we will not step backward until the day we have democracy.
Protesters charged that Beijing is not keeping its part of the agreement, allowing Hong Kong to keep elements of independence.
They still have 28 years to go before that agreement ends, but they can already see and experience suppression from Beijing. And that is why we can see how angry they are. They are determined to fight for the rights that they can still enjoy in the remaining 28 years.
Many Christians are joining the protests, gathering to worship and pray before marching in the streets.
We can encourage certain Christians to come out. Our purpose is to pray for Hong Kong. And one day, the police shout against the demonstrator, ask your Jesus to come down. But we told them, Jesus is here. So I think it is a good witness.
Pastor Yun asks for more prayers, especially in the aftermath of the chaos that has now put Hong Kong in a more volatile political situation. Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Hong Kong.
Here at home this holiday weekend, families looking for a vacation destination that's fun and educational might consider the Creation Museum in Kentucky. As Paul Strand shows us, it could also strengthen your faith.
The Creation Museum starts off with those creatures of old who stomped the earth, dinosaurs. No matter how you feel about dinosaurs, we know kids love them, which is why the Creation Museum has made sure to have a ton of dinosaurs. Well, many tons. And visitors will hear different stories about them than is taught in most classrooms or spread by secular evolutionists. That's because one of the museum's goals is to illustrate how this is a universe of intelligent design made by a creator God, not just a random evolving and mutating of meaningless matter. One thing that is evolving is the museum itself. The ministry Answers in Genesis, which runs the museum, is making sure it continues to grow.
If you haven't been here even in just the last few years, come back and see it. There's a lot more to see.
Along with all those dinosaurs lurking about the place, inside the Creation Museum, visitors will see the Garden of Eden, as well as Noah and the Ark, the worldwide flood, and a planetarium. Outside, there's also a big petting zoo and zip lines. One reason for the expansion is to accommodate all the new visitors brought here by sister destination, the Ark Encounter. It's only 43 miles away and offers discount tickets to the Creation Museum.
We had over 700,000 people the first year that the Ark opened come here. And we consistently have over 500,000 visitors, which is, a couple 100,000 more than we're used to.
The museum staff decided to view this unexpected overcrowding as an opportunity.
Let's expand certain areas, let's open things up, let's put in some new exhibits.
One thing that won't change is the bottom line message. God's perfect creation may have been tainted by man's sin, but there's a way out. Jesus Christ.
When he died on the cross, the infinite Son of God took the infinite punishment from the infinite Father. And that was enough to satisfy God's wrath on sin. And that's what makes salvation possible, only through the blood of Jesus Christ, through his death, burial, and resurrection.
Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from the Creation Museum in Kentucky.
I've been to both wonderful places to visit, and you can learn more about the Creation Museum and follow the news throughout the day at our website, cbnnews.com.